The Daejeon Institute was established as an institution that would bring together scholars from very different fields, from technology to policy and business, including practitioners of business, to talk seriously about the major issues confronting Asia and the world in this century. We established the Daejeon Institute along with the Solbridge International School of Business, in which it's located, here in Daejeon, because Daejeon is one of the major research clusters in the world, bringing together a vast variety of research institutions, everything from nanofabrication and telecommunications to computer software, nuclear power, and biotechnology, engineering, mechanics, and a variety of other chemical engineering, for example, fields. The Non-Proliferation Initiative here is headed by Dr. Endicott, who's worked on the question of limiting, reducing the number of nuclear weapons, and creating mechanisms for the control of dangerous substances around the world. In specific, Dr. Endicott has looked at Northeast Asia, and in his limited nuclear weapons-free zone for Northeast Asia, a proposal that he put forth 13 years ago, and has made great progress working with people around the world, an effort which was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in 2005. Through that effort, he has tried to find a consensus and built a consensus here in Asia on what needs to be done to reduce nuclear weapons. Related to that effort, we're working with the Korea Institute for Nuclear Safety and the Korea Institute for Non-Proliferation and Control to come up with guidelines and approaches to nuclear power in general in East Asia, which is one of the great, sometimes unappreciated or misunderstood security issues, because as people build nuclear power plants all over Asia, if they do not adhere to strict standards and they're not properly protected, it's a tremendous risk to the proliferation of nuclear weapons and the dangers that come with these technologies floating around. The East Asia Middle East Engagement Initiative, run by our senior associate and now senior researcher, Fahad Al-Turif, is an effort to bring together figures from business, academics, technology, and other fields in both the Middle East and East Asia for a dialogue on the importance of the relationship between these two regions and the proper channels for the development of long-term, meaningful interaction between the two areas. The Middle East and East Asia have become profoundly linked by economic, energy, and technology issues, but the level of understanding at the most basic cultural and systemic institutional level remains still quite simple. So we want to create a dialogue, a discussion about what the relationship should be, and put forth proposals in terms of how we can build true, meaningful relationships between the two. Niru Biswas at the Daejeon Institute runs the Korea-India Business and Technology Initiative, or KIPTI. This is an effort to bring together people in business and in research from both India and Korea to see how these two countries can cooperate closely and more systematically than is the case now. India is extremely strong in IT and in many aspects of the emerging computer software field. On the other hand, Korea, in terms of the systems for administration, in terms of hardware and manufacturing in many fields, nanotechnology, is considerably more advanced and can offer to India much. So by bringing the two in a complementary way together, we think we can develop a truly meaningful relationship between them. The Daejeon Green Growth Forum essentially started at the Daejeon Institute as we worked together in an effort to find ways that the researchers here in Daejeon could contribute their expertise to making Daejeon itself a model for ecologically sound growth, and particularly to become an eco-city in the more general sense. Since we started with a series of meetings between important researchers and Dr. Yang Ji-won, the vice president of KAIST, Korea's foremost technical university, when Dr. Yang took over as chairman, it became a very prominent event here in Korea. We were honored to have it recognized by the Blue House and the Ministry of the Environment as a Green Growth Forum, and we have now some funding and plans to work closely both with Korea and countries around Asia to make a model in Daejeon as to what a true green growth eco-city could be. The Asia Institute has been working very closely with the Korea Research Institute for Bioscience and Biotechnology, or KRIB, on a biotechnology initiative. This is an effort to assess what the status of biotechnology in Korea is today, and to figure out new strategies for how Korea can play a leading role in that field, and more importantly, what the most appropriate approaches to international collaboration in the field of biotechnology should be. Biotechnology is only emerging now as a major field for research and for industry, but there's every reason to believe that eventually the biosciences and biotechnology in specific will displace the silicon-based IT industries as the driving force in the global economy over the next 20 years. So this is an attempt to assess biotechnology carefully at this point and put forth a strategy for future collaboration. At the Asia Institute, we believe very strongly that the financial crisis of 2008 has profoundly changed the rules of the game for finance in Asia and around the world. That means that we have to sit down with important figures in academics, in business, and in other fields as well, to talk seriously about what the implications of this finance crisis are for Asia as a whole, and what strategies countries like Korea, China, Japan, Indonesia, or Mongolia need to adopt in order to fully recover from this shift and to create new effective strategies for financing, the necessary financing of technologies, of growth, of cities in Dr. David Bigman is a professor of food security at Wageningen University in the Netherlands. He's a world-renowned scholar working on issues of food, trade, and finance, who has put great effort into looking at what is necessary for sustainable growth and development, particularly in agriculture in the Middle East and in Africa. He has decided to draw his attention to the questions of Northeast Asia, and particularly the potential for cooperation between Northeast Asia and the Middle East and Africa, because food is, of course, the major crisis of our time, one that may very well eclipse many of the other day-to-day issues that we think about. He will be here for a year as a senior researcher, and we will be working together to try and find strategies for integrating Asia on food security issues, and also tying the issue of food security to the other initiatives and projects that we're working on here at the Asia Institute and at the other research institutes in Daejeon.